Hello students, today we will study about the permanent tissues. In the last video lesson, we studied about the meristematic tissues which are made up of the dividing cells. Now the question arises whether the permanent tissues which are made up of non-dividing cells, or we can say which are made up of the cells which have lost their ability to divide, are present in the plants right away when they start germination from a seed or not. The answer to this would be a no. Why? See, the plants are growing, and so at the time of the germination from the seed, they only have the meristematic tissues as the permanent tissues. Would mean that they were already present and that they do not divide, which is practically not possible. So initially, when the plant does not have the permanent tissues, then where do they come from? See, when the meristematic tissues divide and reach their final stage of division, then they attain maturity, and after this point, these meristematic tissues do not divide any further, and they only get differentiated into different parts of the plant, and then these non-dividing tissues become permanent tissues. Now what does this mean? It means both the meristematic tissues and the permanent tissues are one and the same thing. When the tissues grow and divide, they are known as the meristematic tissues. And when they finally mature and stop dividing, then these meristematic tissues are only known as the permanent tissues. So the permanent tissues are basically matured meristematic tissues. Now moving further, there are mainly two types of permanent tissues. These two types are simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues. Let us first study about the simple permanent tissues. The simple permanent tissues is a group of similar cells performing a common function. There are three types of simple permanent tissues. These are parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. Now we will study about these three tissues in detail. See, the parenchyma tissues are also known as filler tissues. The collenchyma tissues are also known as supporter tissues, and the sclerenchyma tissues are also known as the protector tissues. This was a very brief explanation of the three tissues. We will study them in detail in our next video.